In today's video, we're going to talk about what's new in CloudBees CI 2.289.1.2. If you're new here, welcome. And if you are new here, you don't know who I am. My name is Darren Pope, and I'm a developer advocate for CloudBees. On Wednesday, June 2nd, CloudBees released CloudBees CI 2.289.1.2. As we go through this video, we're going to talk about some of the new features and some of the resolved issues that came out in that release. Since CloudBees CI is based on Jenkins LTS, Jenkins LTS was also released on Wednesday, June 2nd, and that version was 2.289.1. I did a video with Mark Wade on June the 7th, and if you want to go back and watch that replay, that will be right up here to my right, or it'll also be down in the description of this video. In that video, we went through some of the details specific to Jenkins LTS. I'm not going to recap those items, so if you want to learn some things that were specific to Jenkins LTS, know that those things also apply to CloudBees CI. If you're not sure where to find the release notes for this version, let me walk you through what the standard process is to find the release notes for CloudBees CI. So right now we're on docs.cloudbees.com. I'm going to go up to Documentation, click on CloudBees CI. I'm going to click on Documentation and select Release Notes. And from here, you'll see all of the CloudBees CI release notes for all the versions that are available. Right now, at the time of recording, the latest version is 2.289.1.2. It was released on Wednesday, June the 2nd. To start with, we're going to take a look at the release notes for traditional, and at the end, we'll take a look at the notes that were specific only to modern. Let's start with the traditional release notes. So we'll go to Traditional Platforms, click on Full Release Notes, and we'll scroll down just a little bit, and you'll see here at the very top that there was a security advisory for this release. Let's take a quick look at that. We'll open up in a new tab, and you can see here that all of these security advisories were around specifically for CloudBees CI. So if you were using the team controller from CI Modern, then there was a fix for that. There was some CSRF fixes and a couple of plugins, and there were some invalid RBAC fixes. Again, there were just 4 here. They're all marked as mediums, all included in this release of CloudBees CI. Let's go back over to the notes. The security fixes, this item was included in the security advisory. Let's take a look at some of the new features. In a previous release, and in fact, that was in the May 2021 release, this is where we had the ability to have a one-to-many configuration as code cask bundle available for usage. That came out in preview in May, and is now generally available within this June release. Now, one of the other features that is now available with June is the ability to see more information about the bundles. You will see that on the Operations Center. A new preview feature, and this is really cool. Now, within configuration as code, you can configure it as an inheritance chain. Think of it as a parent-child relationship. I can have a parent bundle, and then I can add on to it with a child bundle. Again, right now, this is in preview in the June 2021 release. So test it out. If you have some issues, open up a support ticket. Support will be glad to work through it with you. There's also another configuration as code change that now you're able to select a default bundle. The default bundle gives you the ability to always have a bundle available for any new controllers that you add. And as we scroll down here a little bit more, there were a couple of other feature enhancements for configuration as code. I'll leave these here for you to read through, but there's multiple files per section. So that way you can break up your files except for plugin catalog. So you can have multiple files for plugins or for Jenkins.yaml, whatever those are. This way you can break up a large file into multiple files. Check that out. That might be very useful for you. There's also a bundle version is automatically generated. And finally, there was a link file information that changed here just a little bit as well. Let's scroll down to our resolved issues. So under resolved issues, if in the past you had been using a cluster operation on the Operations Center to do your backups of your controllers out to S3. There were some issues to where that would fail. That's now been fixed in this release. There are also 2 items related to RBAC that were fixed in this release, one about caching and one about definitions being pushed around even if you weren't using RBAC. Again, all that's been cleaned up and resolved in this release. Next up, we've been talking a lot about configuration as code up until this point. There are a number of fixes for configuration as code included. Read through these, see if any of these apply to you if you're currently using configuration as code. And finally, in the resolved issues, we're still working on a legacy cleanup of terminology. And if you haven't seen this, this has been going on for a few months, not only within the Jenkins community, but also within CloudBees. And we're working on, as I scroll down to it, the legacy terminology update. This is where controller is replacing master and agent is replacing slave. Again, this is not only an ongoing thing for the Jenkins community, but also for CloudBees as well. So keep watching this, and we'll keep cleaning them up as we go through. Next up, let's go over and check out a couple of extra items that apply specifically to the modern platforms. So let's go ahead and just click the back arrow here. We'll click on the full release notes for modern cloud platforms. And let's check these out. There were a couple of items under resolved, so all of the new features that were in traditional all apply to modern. Under the resolved section, there are a couple of items, specifically Operations Center hostname was required for installation. That is no longer failing if you don't provide something for Operations Center hostname. Finally, there is one known issue that affects anyone that is hosting on AWS using EKS and specifically using an AOB ingress controller with a version that's greater than 2.1.3. So this is a very specific version, EKS 119 or later, and an AOB of 213. This is a known issue and will be resolved in a future release. And that's a quick recap of what's available in CloudBees CI 2.289.1.2. If you have any questions or didn't follow what I was talking about, go look at the release notes. If you're not sure how to get to the release notes, rewind, watch that section of how to go to docs.cloudbees.com, click on the links, get yourself to the release notes, go through release notes. And if you have any questions as you're going through the process, you can open up a support ticket with CloudBees support, and they'll be glad to help you out. If you have any questions or comments, you can reach out to us on Twitter at CloudBeesDevs. If this video was helpful to you, give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to CloudBees TV yet, why not? Take a moment, click on that subscribe button, and then ring that bell, and you'll be notified anytime there's new content available on CloudBees TV. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.